Good afternoon everybody. I thought I'd sit back a little bit for this video because I have this girl out, and Tessa is a mighty big girl. Now I'll try and give you an idea of just how big Tessa has actually got. Yes, she is rather big these days. I'm keeping her pretty slim. She really does need to get into a space where she'll have a lot more climbing space, because her muscle tone I'm not happy with at all. And you know what a great believer I am in my snakes having lots of exercise and places to explore. But you know, Tessa hasn't got the best temperament, though as you can see, once she's out, she's where's that whole body going of yours? Can I have it back up here, please? She's gripped her tail and she's actually pulling herself downward with my holding on to my handbag, actually with her tail. Yeah, it's not the best temperament when you go to actually get her out of her enclosure at all. Doesn't really like me dragging her out. And when I say drag her out, she doesn't like me actually physically going in and getting her out. She does tend to prefer, a little bit like a mare, to do all that sort of thing all by herself, which, you know, I prefer too, guys. It kind of is how I am with my snakes. And Tessa does do that for me, but she also doesn't at times. And it was kind of, do I get Jessie out today or do I get Tessa out? And I felt it had been a little while since I've done a video with Tessa, and I did want to let you see that she's doing very well. Good eater. I'm actually been feeding her large rats every 7 days, guys, and I still look at her and think, you could still do with a little bit more weight on there, girl. But extra large, a little bit big. So even though I'm giving her a large feeder every 7 days, I am sort of like thinking I may have to give her a large and a small in that one meal, by the looks of her. But otherwise, she is healthy. She just gets into my hands and she just totally relaxes. And that is just the way Tessa has become finally with me. She's certainly not underweight. She's a big, heavy girl. And I'm afraid to just keep slamming those rats into her, because she is a big eater and she would just pound them, and I could offer every 5 days and Tessa would take a large rat. So I did want to get her out in between all this turmoil with Jack, and let her do some climbing. So I'm going to get her to hopefully ungrip this tail, which is not going to be easy. Excuse me guys, and I'll turn off the fan because she would certainly be able to actually reach it, and we'll follow her and I'll show you this girl. Okay, doll, we are going to go. Well, you didn't do that very well, Mum. Sorry. Okay, so there she goes. She knows where to go to. She's been up there many times herself, knows the area very well and enjoys it. And as you can see just how big Tessa has got. I would estimate her length to be Lily's length. She of course is ultimately probably going to be much longer than what my Lily is, to be perfectly honest with you, and probably as girthy as Lily will ultimately end up being as well. Jed has to of course do his bark, so there's his little piece here. Jed, she will probably ultimately end up being girthier than what Lily is pretty much, and what Tessa is about 3 years old now, so has certainly got a fair bit of growing to do, of course, hence why she's going to need a bigger enclosure. Ultimately, the size of what Jack is, because she does love to climb. She enjoys climbing. She enjoys being up off the ground. I very rarely ever see her on the ground. She is more up in her hammocks, relaxing up there. So I do know that height for her is probably more important than floor. I do like them to have the length, at least 2/3 of their body length, to be able to stretch out. But if you can offer height that gives them a maximum as well, that is really important to them. So I think she's just going to chill there for a while by the looks of her. She will eventually make her way right up to the top. She always does, and then I have a terrible time getting her down. And the bigger she's getting, the harder it is sometimes to get her down. She's all for just wanting to stay on out, and you know, I've got to go out sometimes. I've got things I need to do, and of course other snakes that like to come out. I mean, it's okay, Lily will come out and just find her spot up there and chill out for a while. And Tessa, you know, she likes to explore for quite some time, so that's eyes on and so forth, but that's okay. That's just Tessa, and that is her personality. And like I said, her temperament once she's out is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You know, in a home, yeah, not so much, but it's been a while since Tessa's actually been able to get me. I keep my eye on her. The whole time I'm watching her. She just kind of sits there looking at me. So guys, you take care of yourself and your family and your friends and your snakes and all your animals. What do you think, Tess? Hey? Ciao.